Okay guys, here is your 60-second snapshot for day number 1. We start off with the Riyadh Falcons against Carolina Royal Ravens. Riyadh Falcons take the series 3-0. That marks their first win in the CDL with this new roster. They look confident, they look composed, beautiful to see from them. Carolina 0-2, still figuring out how to play the game with the best. Then we have G2 Minnesota versus the Boston Breach. G2 were leading the series 2-0. Boston bring it back in a reverse sweep. Incredible ice shown from Boston right here. Then we have Toronto COD taking down the Vancouver Surge 3-0. Business as usual in the respawns, map 1 and map 3, whereas map 2 went to a round 11 on Den. Alright, here is your day 2 CDL snapshot in 60 seconds. Paris versus LAT. For a rivalry match, for a top 3 match, it wasn't even close. Paris defeat LAT 3-0 and they controlled every single map. LAT didn't feel like they were here at all. For a team as big as LAT, you expect them to have had a closer game against Paris, but this is a rough start to the storyline and a rough start to the season. The second match was OpTic versus the Miami Heretics. This went all the way to map 5. It should never have. Map 4, Miami end up coming back against OpTic Texas on Den Hardpoint with a 60-point deficit. OpTic were about 4 or 5 points away from winning. End up taking it to the distance, but OpTic handle on a Raid 5 S&D. Then finally, you have Cloud9 versus the Vancouver Surge. Cloud9 take it 3-0. And to be honest, the biggest question I have is how long do you give Legend? I don't know. I don't know what you do if you are Vancouver. I don't expect them to get a win throughout the end of the season. It's looking tough as teams start to progress even further away. How much time do you give him? Do you dip into challenges before Christmas? One moment that defined day 2 started with Paris Jansamids versus LAT. You have Dangosty ending up 38-13. That is a near 3 KD on this map 1. He was screaming, he was shouting. You could hear on the listenings with the CDL, he was getting hyped. This was a takeover map from the guy that they dropped during the end of the season. That's your snapshot. Let's break down what actually matters inside of those maps. This is the start of the comeback. You think OpTic are going to win here? Yeah, I'm thinking right. Easy. OpTic are going to win. They've got a full setup. Now they're 8 points from winning. They've got 2 kills. Trade out, you guys are good. They don't recognize 4 spawns behind. Then they don't recognize 1 spawns here. 4 ends up killing 8, stopping OpTic from winning. Now they are 60 points. OpTic only need 1 point, and Miami are just going to stack this time with 13 seconds. Now this is a weird situation from OpTic. You know you need 1 point, and it felt like they were caught in 2 minds. It's like, do we all hit this? Do we all rotate? Who goes, who stays? In my experiences, when you get into situations like this, you just commit to one decision together. You all bang together, you trade out. You all rotate, you trade out. They do neither. They give Miami the ability to set up and rotate here. They have the Hellstorm. I would like to have seen at least OpTic play to control Dojo together with the Hellstorm. Force them to run inside. I get the idea of what they're trying to do, but I think if you played it together with the Hellstorm, you force them to run into you. They don't do that. They waste their Hellstorm kill, and Miami just bump out and they stay super disciplined. They stay super in control, and they're just soaking time. They're letting the game come to them. Everybody has an angle that they're going to be watching, and they keep it controlled. And look at them here. End up winning the wave, and somehow I'm thinking there's no way. Surely they end up winning. Surely they end up winning. Metals does a fantastic job making Dashi OV, and they end up taking that map, going into a map 5. Alright, here's your CDL day 3 snapshot in 60 seconds. To start the day, Falcons take down Boston 3-1. They close it out with a map 4 comeback on Colossus Hardpoint. The series doesn't really end quietly either. There was a lot of controversy around Celium snaking, accusing him of breaking the GAs. So that storyline is not going to go away after this one. Moving on to the second game of Miami Heretics versus Cloud9. That went the distance. Miami end up edging C9 3-2, handing C9 a tough series loss. Miami found a way to get their first win, decent from them. And to close out the day for our monster matchup, it was FaZe, Vegas FaZe versus Toronto COD. And my god, that series did deliver. FaZe end up taking that series 3-2. They win both S&Ds as you would expect. But what wasn't expected is they take out COD in a 100-point club on map 4 Colossus. It wasn't perfect from FaZe, but it's the kind of response that you want to see from a team that you have super high expectations. COD looked good in at least map 1 and map 3. So there's your snapshot. Falcons come back, Miami's clutch factor, and FaZe reminding you guys why they are an elite team. So let's break down what actually mattered inside some of these maps. So quite obviously, Vegas FaZe versus Toronto COD was the match of the day, and here are some of the things that you guys can learn from each of these maps. So I want to first bring it on to match number 1. This is exposure hardpoint going on to the second P4, and what I really want to highlight is how well Toronto play hardpoint over spawn point. And here's what I mean. So they need to break this hill. Joe Deceives somehow gets one of the craziest 2 pieces I've seen. Kills Simp here. Simp is mind blown watching that, saying wow. They have their numbers, so what we want to do, guys, is when you have numbers, you want to trade out. When you have numbers, you take the quickest route possible towards the time. So that right here, they're in a 3 versus 2. They know they're going to spawn at the back, obviously based on how far they're pushing, and they're going to play towards time. Trading meaning going 1 for 1 right here. And as you see, DREAL gets 1. Now they're in a 3 versus 1. So all you need to do is make sure you get information and you take the same fights at the same time, right? And look how they play this wave. 47 seconds left. This is now the second wave of P4. Your second wave based on where they're spawning, you know the timings, you know the routes they could take, you know that you can predict the intentions that they have. So right here, they end up killing the last guy, end up trading out the last guy, and they're just soaking from the front. DREAL gets a 2-piece. They're playing in positions where if Vegas FaZe come in, they need to overextend. If Abuza in this situation takes a fight on CleanX, he's going to die from DREAL, and vice versa. This is what we call an overextension, and they play in a makeshift setup in order to give themselves the best chance of holding the hill. And this is an element of what we call hardpoint and not spawn point. They're not trying to force the issue. They're not trying to take any more space. They're not trying to flip the spawns. Just keep the game in front of you and understanding the setup when you can use teamwork to turn a disadvantage into an advantage. And you keep watching it right here, guys. They hold the lanes that they need to. 7 is going to pick up his lane. 5 will pick up his lane. And the entire time they are soaking. And they just, once they get information, they can react off the information and allocate resources to fight that based on where they think the kill's coming from. And you see it right here. 5 ends up picking 4. Now you're in a 4 versus 3. He can watch either side. And these guys can funnel them through into a kill box and end up winning that wave and securing even more time, which they end up doing so when they take the fights here because they're taking fights from multiple lanes. By understanding the advantageous positions you have, you can create advantages with that position. You don't have to always push spawns, flip, and play from the side that is deemed good or not. This concept works from essentially every single hill, and you see Toronto do a fantastic job of it here. Here's a moment, guys, that I want to highlight from map 2, from Vegas versus Toronto. S&D, Vegas are up 3-1, but they're in a 3 versus 4 situation, trying to retake bomb site, knowing that they are going to be planting. What I want to highlight is a tendency that FaZe have done in the previous S&D that I picked up on, that Toronto via preparation have also done, and they haven't fallen for this bait. So what I mean by that is they'll throw a smoke here, expect somebody to watch this and retake with that split second timing this side. Watch what they do here. They throw that smoke. That forces these two to throw a frag, realize through preparation, okay, they're not hitting it through, and this is how we pick up on teams' tendencies. They turn around instantly, just in case they do hit it, just in case, they turn around instantly and take the fights towards the back in a 4 versus 3 right here. Joe DC's pushes through, understanding, hey, they're all 3 are hitting the back. And this is how they end up winning the round. So studying your opponents, understanding some tendencies that in the moment you think, hey, I've seen this before, could they be doing this? Now, you don't assume that they're doing it, but could they be? Another key moment that I do want to talk about is this map 4 hardpoint on Colossus going into the second P3, and I just want to show you how perfectly FaZe have ended up playing this. So they end up having someone bumped out here, playing a power position or a hybrid spot. To get information, play both sides, shift where needed. The more you push out this way as a weighted scale, the more you got to push in that way. So this is why he's playing in this position, to almost guarantee that nobody is going to flip behind if they do make kills. And just look at how they play it from here to secure this essential full 60. 3 gets close, 2's getting closer, so they're now playing a lot tighter in order to promote trades, teamwork, aping, and team shooting. So right here we see it. Simp is shouldering here. He shoulders either side to play that information. He's essentially luring in number 7 with the information so number 4 can help. As long as he plays his life, he can make number 4 useful. He can then get information if number 4 ends up shifting across to pick up mid. Number 3 is in a fight, calls out there's 2 people. Number 2 is then just watching the pinch, as is his job. And he's just shouldering. Playing that information, shouldering, buying time, and then he will take a child based on that. He sees he has an AR. So what he's trying to do is he knows you have an AR, I have an SMG, I've basically got a shotgun. So I'm going to slide across, be aggressive, be confident in my child. I know 2 people are out of the play, so I am going to fight you and I'm going to kill you. Then they're going to come off spawn and re-pick up where they think the pressure is coming from. And just fantastic how they play it from here, guys. They get 3 kills. They know the last guy's pinching because of where he's in here. So they're predicting, okay, maybe he's coming around to pinch. I'm going to play for it just in case. Now they know exactly where they're spawning. And they're just going to do the same thing again. Now one guy, he's going to play and use his free life. Kills Insight. He's playing information on the right. And this is how they put so much pressure on the map. The further they push up this way, the further they go backwards. And just look at how they're playing it here. End up dying. But look, they've got 35 seconds before they even do anything, and they still spawn on top of a teammate close to the time because Toronto, Koi do not have any map progression. They don't have any map control, so they spawn towards and they just play efficient and trading through time. This is, guys, this is how you play to secure 60 seconds of a hill right here. This was so good from Vegas FaZe. And now he's playing a position in his setup, a hybrid spot, a power spot. In order to let the game come to him, they have to challenge him, which then allows him to get into the play. So they're taking the same fights. In order to make a setup useful, understand how you can make every person useful. Understand how you can team shot, how you can take the same fights, and how you can reduce the effectiveness of enemies right here. As they do here. And now they're taking the fights, and they're confident with the fights that they're taking, end up dying, but that's how you essentially secure 50 seconds on a P3. Final key moment on day 3 was Vegas FaZe versus Koi, map number 5, 3-2. This was a swing round. Vegas ends up winning this round. They end up winning the game. Koi, they need this round to get back into the game. Currently, FaZe are up 4 versus 3, so theoretically, if you go 1 for 1 and you trade, you win the game. So let's see how it plays out here. Doing a 4 versus 3. Making progression towards A. You look at number 6 on the bottom left. You look at 5. Number 7 ends up picking out Simp here. So now we're making it a 3v3. Now, FaZe know that he's out of the play. So theoretically, if they take the 3 versus 2 and they go 1 for 1 and they take fights together, they should win this round by isolating him, right? So let's look how they play this. They end up committing haphazardly. He ends up trying to play for 7 rather than committing to his team. He ends up playing for him. So look what happens here. Abuza kills 5. 2 turns round to kill DREAL. Going 1 for 1, they ended up trading. You could have argued maybe he prevents that bad timing by playing with his teammate in the first place. Now it's a 1v1. Insight needs to plant the bomb. 0-4 knows bomb is down. So 0-4 is trying to predict and think ahead about what Insight could be doing. 30 seconds left. Insight's win condition is to plant the bomb. Insight most likely isn't going to plant unless he clears all of this side of the map first because it's too risky to do. He has to clear this first. He sees 0-4 here. 16 seconds left. Now it gets down to 10 seconds. Gets him weak. So 0-4's like, okay, maybe he's going to run me down. That's his only win condition is one of 2 choices. Either he runs me down or he goes back to get the bomb instantly. Now, there's a third where he could just wait here and risk it and play the 50-50. But 0-4 doesn't need to do that. So 0-4 stays. He's like, all right, is he going to chase me? Right, he hasn't chased me. He has to go get bomb and he has to plant because bomb is right here. So he's going to clear this just in case Jamie is cutting. He doesn't see him. Understands, right, bomb has been planted. So there's 3 options. Either he runs across this way, or he stays where he is. I'm going to count these as 2 lanes because he has information. Now it's on him to use process of elimination and timings to anticipate where Jamie is going to be. And right here, wins this 1v1. FaZe go up 4-2, full of confidence, huge round, huge clutch. Ice right there. Who have I got stock up and whose stock have I got going down? Well, we'll start with stock up first. I have Riyadh Falcons. Their stock has definitely gone up. A solid performance against the Carolina Royal Ravens and a solid win against Boston. Now, of course, there was controversy against Boston with Sell, but overall, they looked comfortable. They looked good. Exnid on a 10 streak on that map for winning overtime against Boston. So I have Falcons stock rising. I also have Paris Gentlemen compared to last week. 3-0 dominant performance against LAT. Nothing else really needs to be said. Miami, I will also put as stock up. Reason for this is they take down C9 3-2. They went to a map 5 against OpTic compared to last week, but they went 2 map 5s. But I think for me, they have improved in game. I'm still putting them as stock up, but they still have a long way to go to where they reached the heights of last year. As for stock down, I have Vancouver Surge. I think that one's kind of obvious. Gwyn, yeah, showed some light. Abe Luna showed some light. The big question marks about Legend, right? So I've got Vancouver Surge on a stock down. And also the Carolina Royal Ravens, losing 3-0 to Falcons in the way that they did. I want to see more from them, expecting to see more from them in January. But right now, they're the two teams who I have stock down. There you have it, guys. That's your CDL Week 2 recap. We now have a break over Christmas. The league won't start until the first week of January. So guys, let me know in the comments below whose stock is up, whose stock is down, and your favorite moments from this weekend. And let me know, hot topic, what roster changes would you make right now? Who would you get for some of these teams? Let me know. Appreciate you guys watching.